full screen.
Yeah, I checked the stream. Thank you, Alan. Hi, everybody, and thanks for joining us for the NuttX International Workshop 2022. This should be the third event in the workshop series. We started in Gouda in 2019 when we had the pleasure to meet for the first time in person. Since then, a lot has happened. The NuttX has moved to Apache, and I see many code contributions. I see every day people interacting with NuttX, and everybody seems to be extremely busy with developing the NuttX itself, coding for NuttX, porting NuttX everywhere. But from time to time, we should also stop and reflect. What did we do in the last 3 years? What is the NuttX history? And how we all ended up here. So instead of doing a technical presentation today, I was thinking that maybe it's worth spending 15 minutes of your time with a status report. And then we should look where NuttX started. We should check how the project evolved. We should look at us as the community. And we should also look where we are with the licenses, because licenses are an important part of each project's life. I will start talking about the NuttX and how things have started. In the 2019, Greg had a really nice slide development deck where he presented how NuttX started. And it started in the mid-90s when he tried to do just an experiment with a handful of files, quote from him. That development continues in early 2000, here and there adding small utilities at a low pace development. And in 2007, he released NuttX 1.0 under the BSD license on Bitbucket. Since then, the project has evolved on Bitbucket and it got more traction. But in 2019, the project has been donated to the Apache Software Foundation, and we started our journey as an incubation project. In 2022, we are in the final stages for graduation as a top project of the Apache software. So with those 20 plus years of history, we now are finally a project that is managed by a project community, and we have a lot of community developers. I think that we should thank Greg for creating this really nice project, and I want to personally thank him, because it's not only something that we have to work with, but it's also a fun real-time operating system. The main characteristics from my perspective are illustrated in the arrow tips of the triangle. The operating system is portable, it's scalable, and it's compatible, which means that it's also available. It supports AMP and ASMP and SMP, and it also has edge AI support, because nowadays we start moving the AI to the edge, and we see more and more microcontrollers supporting those frameworks. Looking at what I presented before, we can also see the benefits. The project is mature with over 20 years of development. It has a consistent coding style. And I remember that it was really well documented when I first tried to submit code to the NuttX project. We have an active developer community which is reviewing and commenting on patches every day. And also it has an open license, which helps companies take the code in. From the requirements perspective, you can run NuttX on almost every low, medium, and microcontroller or microprocessor. It requires no MMU, but it can use MMU if you have. It can run on 8-bit boards. It can also run on 64-bit boards. It requires as little as 8 kilobytes of RAM for the basic operating system. And after that, only the application will set the needed amount of RAM. It's also extremely small. If you build the tiniest configuration, it's less than 16 kilobytes of flash. It started for 8-bit microcontrollers, and now we can use it even on RISC-V 64-bit. It was designed to be real-time from scratch, and it's designed for low power consumption. It's also available out of the box on over 300 boards from various architectures. Having all those benefits, we saw NuttX used on a wide range of devices, from Sony digital audio recorders. Masayuki-san had a really nice presentation in 2019, if I'm not wrong. In Bluetooth headphones, drones, protection equipment, safety equipment, RFID readers, IoT devices, fiscal printers, and even fitness trackers. And this year we got the news that it is also used in the Xiaomi S1 Pro smartwatch. We saw that along the time the software has been incorporated in products from Sony, Xiaomi, Samsung, Fitbit, Motorola, Haltian, 3D Robotics, Daruma, Verge Aero with their awesome drones, and many, many others. If you're interested, you can check the presentations that have been done by the respective companies in the NuttX online workshop 2019, 20, and 21. And we look forward on hearing about more use cases this year and in the following years. Now that we looked on the project history and benefits, I think that we should also look on how we all work. I could only find project activity from 2013 mid-year up to 2020 now, and we can see that each day we have quite a nice contribution ratio. The project slowed down between 2018 and 19 and ramped up after. Also, I was looking at the releases, since now we are doing quite nice releases on time schedule, and we try to do releases every 3 months. So we can see that in every release we had at least 950 push requests. Also, the next release planned for December this year, the 11.1, it's supposed to have roughly the same number. But then I looked at the number of files, and here you can see a nice growth. We started with 22,000 files in the 9.0 release, and now we have 26,500 of files included in the NuttX Git, which, if we look at the lines of code, is roughly 950,000 lines of code added to the project from 9.0 up until 11.0. By the way, it's worth noting that the 11.0 has passed the project management committee vote, and now it's waiting for the Apache IPMC to vote. We need 2 more votes and the release will be live. Having the code contribution is also guiding us into the community aspect. And here we can see that we have more than 100 contributors in a snapshot that I took from GitHub. And we have a ranking here, but I think that it's less important the rank, and it's more important the people. We have over 100 people working with the project, And I would like to thank you all for being part of this awesome community that we are part of, and we help NuttX develop. In the NuttX Git, there is a file called authors. Please check that your name is in that file if you submitted the ICLA or an SGA, because we are trying to fix the last remaining bits of the licenses, and we want to make sure that all people that have submitted the ICLA are documented in the authors. We want to give authorship and credits for all community members that help us develop this awesome operating system. As a recap, each release increases with 950 push requests, more than 200,000 lines of code. All of those contributed by over 100 developers. Those are amazing numbers. And since I mentioned the licenses, we should also look on how the licenses evolve. As you can see, in the NuttX 9.0 and 10.0 releases, the project was having mostly BSD licenses, with some Apache, some MIT, and some GPL licenses added here and there. After the NuttX 10.1, the number of Apache licenses has increased dramatically. And now in the latest release, the one that is supposed to come soon, we have over 15,000 files that bear the Apache license, followed by roughly 450 files that still have the BSD license. All of those files are documented, and you are supposed to find them in the license file. So the licenses are documented, but we are still working on making your life easier. So we started a big journey of adding the licenses to the setup itself, and then you are supposed to be able to exclude the licenses that you do not want in your project. This will make your life way easier documenting a product based on NuttX. As I mentioned, this is still work in progress. There are still some licenses which are not excluded when you when you unselect the menu option. I hope that next year I will be able to tell you that this work in progress is done and the system will take care of everything for you. But for now, please also check manually if you have some concerns. And don't forget to check the license file to be sure that your project or product is compliant with the licenses. As a recap, we should remember that the project has main license as Apache. There are other licenses used in the project like BSD, MIT, and 2 files that are GPL. And you should check the license file for detail. There are no other licenses included in the project. Thank you. If you have questions, I will gladly answer now or later over email.